I really feel like, failure in business is, I failed a lot in business. I mean, I have very few things that have worked out, wins under my belt, but still nothing notable. But I really, really do believe that the failure in business is mandatory. Failure in business is, I mean, without failing in business, Jeff Bezos said this, right? That if you're not failing in business, then you're probably not really trying hard enough. So, making safe moves in business is good to an extent, when you have to make payroll and make sure that your employees get paid, but being extremely cautious and safe in business can cost you growth. And if you're not growing in business, you're really shrinking. That's what I've heard. I think that's the same thing in life too. That if you're not growing, then you're probably shrinking. So in a business, if you're not trying to scale, I've heard of businesses that hold steady, but at least the ones that I'm involved in don't hold if they're not being accelerated on. So I'm not a business expert, but I'm a business student. And I just like to share what I'm experiencing and learn from others who are also experiencing, and surrounding myself with those type of people. So that's the reason why I really do do what I do with this, because I'm not an expert, I'm not a master of any of these subjects, but I'm definitely a student of all of these subjects, of personal finance, of business, of investing, of all these things. And I really feel like when I put myself out there to interact with people who are also interested in these same things, then it makes it that much easier for me to acquire new information and get more information and learn more from other people. That's a big mistake that I made early on in my journey, is trying to do everything on my own, thinking that I had the ability to, find all the information that I needed and, handle everything, in a self-made kind of a way. But that's really a flawed way of thinking, at least for me now. What I'm realizing is every person I speak to, I mean, it has such a big impact on me these days. Like the way, it doesn't matter who it is, but talking and connecting with people, even like this, is good. But there's nothing like, talking to people actively, consistently, who are operating on the same or similar wavelength. I mean, it's just the information starts coming in quick when you start reaching out to those kind of people and involving yourself with those type of people, however that might be. I mean, but opportunity really does come from, other people. And, if you're not getting out there enough and spending enough time interacting and engaging with people, utilize all these social media, avenues to connect with people, because it's everything. It's going to get you from where you are to where you want to be. And again, at least that's my experience so far. I mean, sometimes I'll have a burning question in my head, like, how do I do, a certain thing? How do I approach a certain problem? And I end up talking to somebody and they end up sharing information with me that just like clicks in my head, in a heartbeat. So that's part of what income over expense is about. And I'm just looking to, that's what income over expense is about. And I'm just really looking to attract as many people, not as many people, I'm just looking to attract the right people. Even if it's 100 people who are operating on the same wavelength as me, on the same mindset, that I'm in, if we can connect, I would love to connect with you. I would love to have you come on, the Income Over Expense podcast and just share. that's one thing with this podcast that I've been doing is reaching out to individuals who have experience, have a story, have a journey in whatever. I mean, from real estate to, Forex trading, e-commerce. Tyron, who's a Forex trader from South Africa, just connected with him. And it's amazing how much you can learn from other people just by taking the time to connect with them and try to give them something first. With this podcast, I really don't want anything from the person per se. I just want to help you get your journey out there and share your journey with other people, while at the same time, I've got my ears open and I'm just trying to learn. I don't want anything from you other than to connect with you. And just having a place like that, there are a lot of places similar to that online, which are excellent places to be. But I just feel like for me to connect on a real deep, one-on-one type level with a wider variety of people is having a very, very big impact on my life. And I feel like even just sharing that with other people and letting you know that, hey, if you feel like you might be in a little bit of a rut as far as the people who are around you, you need to change the scenery that you're around. I mean, you look right now, for the past 3 months almost, I've been living in Chiang Mai, Thailand, and this girl on the rooftop thinks that I'm filming her. But anyways, what I'm trying to say is that if you feel stuck and feel like, the people around you are not helping you move forward in your journey, or you feel like you just need to make some type of change, then make that change. And you need to make that change, because nobody else is going to do it for you. And of course, there are a lot of things that need to be taken into consideration as far as what your obligations and responsibilities are. But when you really have something inside of you that's telling you you need to switch something up, change something up, do something different, just whatever that is, don't ignore the things that are inside, because that's really those voices in your head and kind of like inside shouldn't be ignored, because that's the true you, no matter what it is, as long as it's not and again, everything that I'm sharing is not because I'm an expert, but everything I'm sharing is because somebody else shared this with me, somebody who I feel like is experienced in life to a point where the information that they've shared is valuable to me. So I'm just turning around and sharing it with everybody else. So I'm not the originator, or anything like that. But there was a guy, I work still with senior citizens in the elder care industry. And when I was at, I used to go to the senior center to, set up a table and give out the company information, the company that I was working for or still work for, and give them, goodies. I would give them snacks and things like that. And there was this guy who I would talk to. He was maybe like 80 something, cool guy, real active guy, Air Force, I think, yeah, Air Force, ex-Air Force. Like, he flew fighter pilot jets, in World War II. I think, I need to educate myself on history too. When I talk to people about things like that, makes me think that I need to just further my education in, the past, the present, and where we're going. All of those things are important. But what this guy was telling me was, he was saying he made a lot of his money. He has his FU money straight. And he said he made a lot of his money in real estate. And, now he made, I'm not sure if he was in, like apartment buildings or houses or what he did, but he said it was in real estate. But anyways, I was just kind of asking him for direction, because at this time I was just trying to figure out what can I do to get out of the rut that I'm kind of feeling like I'm stuck in? And I was thinking about moving to Texas. This is right before I moved to Houston. And I was asking him like, hey, what do you think? Like, is it crazy to just up and move to a city where I don't know anybody and don't know much about? And he was like, look, I'll tell you this. This is almost a 90-year-old guy. So, when people like that speak, you really should listen, because they've got life experience and they've got wisdom. That's something there's no shortcut to. There's no shortcut to wisdom. So, I take heed, when speaking to, older people. That's more or less what he was saying. He was saying that this voice is going to be inside, and you need to listen to it. You should listen to it. And he said, here's the way you could tell that, there's one situation where you should not listen to that voice. He was saying that you can ask yourself this: is what I'm, hearing inside, is it hurting anybody? What I want to do, is it hurting anybody or bringing harm to anybody else? No. If not, then you're in good standing. So if you're hearing something that's going to bring harm to somebody else or injury to somebody else, then that should not be listened to, of course. But if you're thinking about writing a book, or you want to start acting or something like that, then those types of voices should be listened to. And telling those to shut up can really, hurt a person in the long run. So that's the, wisdom and advice that I received from, an older ex-Air Force fighter pilot. Like, that's very credible advice. But, if you're feeling the need to shake things up, ask yourself, is this something that's hurting anybody? No. If it's not, then give it a shot. What do you really have to lose? Calculate those risks. Of course, calculate those risks and take everything into consideration, but don't just ignore it, and don't sit in the same place just because everybody around you is sitting in the same place. That's one thing, when all the people around you are super comfortable and kind of living in a certain way, if you're happy with doing that, keep doing it, because you're at peace with it. But if you're not at peace with it, then you should probably do something about it, and do whatever it takes. It's not going to be easy. I gave up a lot to make those adjustments. Gave up time with friends, family, gave up short-term money, in terms of working just a, stable job. Like, the job that I quit was paying me way more than I'm making right now. But I'm okay with that, because I feel like right now, making that investment up here, making those mental investments and making those energy investments and mental investments are what's most important to me right now. So if I'm making less money than I was before, that's okay, because money comes and goes. You might be broke today, but if you get this right, you can have the world tomorrow. So with that, this is just a brief kind of off the hip thing that I just wanted to shoot real quick, but hopefully that connects with some people out there. And with that, I'll be signing off. Jordan, Income Over Expense. Until next time, keep pushing, keep progressing. Later.